we're bringing enjoyment to families in our community, getting families outside and getting kids outside. Like, it has a huge impact.
Did the market of 2024 customers, people who would have bought in 2024, did they just buy in 2022 or 2021?
In order to get those new customers that will become clients and give referrals so that we can continue to grow the business, we have to be up with the latest technology.
Getting clear on what can and will you offer in this market is where we should be focusing.
I think as an industry in general, we're very slow to adapt to any type of technology and that type of thing. So it's important to know what's out there and be on the cutting edge if you want to stay relevant.
All right, everyone, welcome back to the Landscaper's Guide. Today, I'm excited to interview Josh Bahler. He's the operations manager and owner of Bahler Brothers. Josh, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on. I'm excited to have this talk with you.
Yeah, so I got to see you speak, I don't know, was that February at the Outdoor Living Mastery Show with Joshua Gillow. It was really cool, and I'm excited to interview you. For folks who haven't seen or heard of you, tell us a little bit about yourself and Bahler Brothers.
So I'm second generation. My father and my three uncles started the business in 1985, and I have been working here basically my whole life, had other jobs throughout the years when we slowed down, but this has always been my love and my passion. And I'm thankful that I had this opportunity from my family to do this. We're a design build company. We do not mow any lawns. So we have a lot of fun at work. And last year we did like 6.6 in revenue. So we get a lot of work done. We have a lot of fun. It's a lifestyle business, I say. We're not setting up the company to sell to private equity or any of that type of stuff. We're trying to do good, high quality work with good, high quality people. So that's my motto, basically.
That's awesome. So do you have any brothers who are in the business with you, or was it Bahler Brothers because it was your dad and his three brothers?
Correct. I do not have any other family members currently as owners with me. I have a cousin that works with us, and my sister does all the books and accounting and that type of stuff for us. So works out great.
Well, that's cool. I love hearing these stories, and a lot of my clients in the landscape industry are the second or in some cases even third generation owner. My first job in the green industry was at a garden center, and my boss was the third generation owner, and his family, they were from Luxembourg originally, and his dad was there, and I learned a lot. I learned how to use a pair of pliers from his dad. He one day I knocked over a table. I knocked over a table and I had to fix it, and the owner's father, who was like in his 80s, was like, "Come here, let me show you how to use a pair of pliers." And I'll never forget repairing that table that day. So that's cool. I'm curious, what are some of the things that, you grew up around the business? What are some of the things that are the same? And then what are some of the things that you do differently from your dad and his brothers?
I guess some of the things that are the same that I try to instill in the team and keep going forward with is the continuous improvement and always trying to learn and get better. Over the years, they invested in consultants and different people to come in and help us. And I feel it's important to continue to do the same thing. They always invested in their people and took the time, and I want to continue to do the same exact thing that they did. I always joke around. I'm fortunate to be second generation. And on one hand, it's easier because it's already established and going. And the other hand, there's a pressure not to mess it up. So I bought the company in 2021. And a lot of people always ask me, what are you changing or what's going to happen? And there was no huge changes. The business was successful. A lot of great things that they did were already happening. And I just don't want to mess it up. So little minor tweaks maybe or different ideas that I have. But other than that, I just been trying to keep it going and tweak little things and have continuous improvement, basically.
And what are some of the core values that were part of the company when you bought it that you continue now? I know I heard you speak about this in in Pennsylvania. It's a big part of what you do. So what are the core values, and tell me about how did they come about?
Like any small business, I would say the core values are lived out by the owners. And I was taught these core values at a young age. Um, we actually have really cemented them in the last couple of years. It was more just kind of unwritten core values in the past. And in reading Traction by Gino Wickman, I realized the importance of having these core values for a lot of different reasons. It was kind of like my first step of let's get these established. Let's let the team know about it. We have it. We have a toolbox meetings on Friday, and it's painted right on the wall, like right there for everybody to see. It's a life size, probably I don't know, 5 feet by 6 feet logo that one of my guys came up with. He's a very talented artist, and he drew it on the wall, and it has our core values on there, and it's just there, and everybody can see them, and we talk about them. We made T-shirts with it on the back, but I try to tell the team it's more than just a T-shirt and a logo. These are things that we need to live out and live our lives by every day, and not only at work but at home and with our families.
So I'm on your website, and the core values are service and dependability, quality, and honesty.
Yeah, and so we've got a graph. We've added a few more. We have six total. So the first one is quality. The second one's integrity. Then customer focused, and then innovative, team player, and then family. So we feel that all these six make up who we are as a team. We all came together, made a big list of the things that were important to us. Then we realized that some of them could be put into like basically the same bucket. And so we ended up landing on these six of them as a team.
And so was that something that you finally branded once you became the owner, or did that start before you became the owner?
No, that was we did that last year. Really branded that and um, tried to make that a consistent thing that we talk about and really make people aware and so that we can all be on the same page.
I like it. You know, I read the book Traction, and we use EOS here at Ramblin' Jackson, but I found the core values to be like branding them was something I put off for years. But once I finally implemented them, it became a very meaningful way of actually growing the team, and it became part of the hiring. What are some of the results of branding your core values and going through this?
Yeah, so for me, the core values was actually the first thing that I did um, in that EOS system and adopted. Being a company that is always trying to learn and do new things, sometimes we come up with these ideas and bring them back to the team, and without enough buy-in, and soon they fall kind of flat. So I've tried to slow down a little bit and really make things stick a little bit at a time instead of um, having the team drink through a fire hose, basically. It's like, so we started with the core values and getting everyone on the same page and just branding them. And everybody loves the t-shirts and they want some for their family, their kids, their wives. And so it just kind of, it's gotten our name out there. And I try to live that way every day. And I think they see that and they respect that. And it just kind of snowballs, I think.
What how do you practice them? How do you, you know, beyond like you said, the t-shirt and the wall, and I suppose if you come into the office you can't not see them, but beyond just having them branded and printed on the wall on the shirts. How do you like practice them?
We're just always talking about customer service, doing the right thing, integrity, and then we get all the we call it we have a kudos board. Like customers are always writing in, so and so helped me with this, or so customers are giving us the feedback that the team is doing the things that we're always talking about, and we we recognize that with the team. And part of our Friday toolbox meetings is having a shout outs to guys for things that they've done good. So it's recognizing those people that are living these out day to day.
One of the things we've done here is we've created a game. We have a beef jerky club, and so we can nominate people every week. And at the end of the month, if you've gotten the most nominations, you get to pick a prize from our beef jerky bingo board. And then we also we have a quarterly and an annual prize. We have this whole ritual out of it. But I found that, bringing it up like in that toolbox meeting or like acknowledging it publicly is what keeps people thinking about it and keeps it moving on. One of them was family. One of the values is family, and something that we had talked about was, being willing to work with people wherever they are in life and using your showroom. So tell me a little bit about the family core value and how does that apply to customers? Because I think it makes sense often for the team, but what's it like being a Bahler Brothers client?
So our purpose statement is actually bringing enjoyment to the families of our community, one backyard at a time. And like, that's what we're doing. We do strictly residential work, and we're bringing enjoyment to families in our community. That's what we do. Getting kids outside is extremely important to us. We worked with a consultant, JP Horizons, and he helped us see the value in what we were doing, calling ourselves outdoor living professionals and getting families outside and getting kids outside. Like, it has a huge impact on their mental health. There's just so many benefits to getting people outside. So as outdoor living professionals, that's what we're doing. And typically it's families. So we stress that with the team, and the team all has families, and they understand what it's like to have to leave early to go to your son's baseball game or soccer game or whatever it is. And like, that's what it is. We're all about that type of thing, that I want my team to be able to enjoy their kids, their families, and have a great life. Like, at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. So,
I agree. That is what it's all about. And I recently did a pretty large outdoor living project at my personal residence, and I got to work with one of my clients, which is really cool because we built their website and I've managed all their photos and I've worked with them on their sales process. So when I was buying from them, I kind of knew everything like that was happening next. And it's amazing how much time I spend with my family out there.
yeah,
If I feel like it has created multiple rooms outside of my house where we like get together and hang out and spend time together. So that really is the impact of outdoor living done well. Tell me about how are you growing the business? How is it different from what you know, your dad and their brothers were doing like in 1984? It's 2024. What are you doing now to generate business that's working?
obviously the website is huge. Google reviews, that type of thing. Um, but still, most of our work comes from old customers and referrals, and it's been like that. We have the charts that we've started way back in the 90s of where our work comes from and tracking leads and all that. And I have to hand it to my father and uncles for just always doing that right thing, and um, taking care of customers because that's what's helped us get to where we are at today. But in order to get those new customers that will become clients and give referrals so that we can continue to grow the business, um, we have to be up with the latest technology, making sure that our website is user friendly, mobile friendly, making sure that it's adjusting to the needs of consumer today. And we've worked with different people over the years to help us to do that. And it's just that's where the future is, and people are always online. So if you're gonna get new customers and try to grow your business, we feel that's where the money should be spent.
And for people who haven't Googled you, you guys have a 5-star Google average. Not only that, you guys have really good photos of the work. You've got videos. You're pretty active on social media. So you're really doing a lot of things well that I like to see, because I think sometimes businesses who have been around since the 80s, they don't do those things. They don't take the photos. Their website looks like it's from the 80s. They don't have social media, and they just kind of wait for the business. And those are the ones that I think struggle more than ones. But it does come down, like, you have to do a good job, right? You can have the best website in the world, but if you don't actually take care of people, you're not really going to get the result. So I think you guys have a lot of good things going: the core values, the quality of work, the photography, website, online reviews. What are maybe some things that you're struggling with in, it's May, or it's June actually, 2024? Like, what are some challenges that you're having?
Well, some challenges would be, if you look on our website, we haven't done a great job blogging in the recent time. I feel that's important for people trying to find us, being online and making sure that the information is current and up to date. Some other challenges we have, which in the landscape business you always have, is the weather. But as I always say, you can't complain about the weather. So you need to adjust and do other things. So we've been seeing that people are taking a little longer to make decisions. Maybe it's an election year, not sure what it is, a little uncertainty, a lot of things going on in the world. But people are slower to write that check to get in on our schedule. Thankfully, we had work lined up from last fall that we carried over, which has been great. So I anticipate this being another great year. But at this time last year, we were almost booking for next year, whereas right now we're booking into September. So we have room in the schedule yet for this year. And we had the same amount of leads, basically, only 10 less leads this year than last year. But, and we've sold only 2 less jobs, but we're almost $500,000 down in sales just because of our average project size has gone down significantly. So it's playing a big role in what we're thinking about and seeing. Had a marketing meeting on Monday, and one of the things that we talked about was actually highlighting some smaller projects so that people know that we do other size projects as well. So maybe highlight some smaller projects so that people can see and don't get scared away by, oh, they only do $100,000 projects.
I'm curious. I'm hearing this from many different markets around the country, including Colorado. So I have a client here, the client who did my project, and they're reporting similar things. I don't know that anyone knows why it's happening. Is it because it's an election year? Inflation is certainly noticeable. I mean, just for basic everyday stuff, groceries are up in some areas close to 30% over what they were last year. And I know when we get groceries, I'm like, is this all we got for, like, wait a second, what did we pay? So I think people are really noticing it with things like fuel, like just your everyday living expenses. Is that what you think is going on, or do your you know, your dad and the four brothers, I'm sure do you still talk with them about the business?
Yeah, I always
Mhm.
run things by them and talk all the time. I talk to Phil a lot just because he talks to other contractors around the country every day. So, getting that type of feedback, and it's always it's good to get feedback from different people and learn from them and see what's going on in their areas and what they're doing to try to combat it and learn from it.
I think if you're open to selling those smaller projects, that would be some feedback that I would share on your website. I'm on it right now. And the good news is you have these stellar photos of these like awesome installations. I'm guessing some of these are even $1 million projects. Is that fair?
We've had a couple that
Yeah,
exceeded a
I mean
million.
a lot of these are looking like they are starting at 75,000. Is that kind
Yeah.
of what I'm seeing on the homepage or
Yeah, our average project size was at like 63,000 last year, and then so we're down to like 50 right at the moment.
okay.
So for what
Well,
we're selling.
yeah, so I think showing people those smaller projects and you know, maybe having like a page around front yard projects or things like that because I think they're still going to buy landscaping and they're still going to do projects and maybe they are not as large as they were. One question I have is did the market of 2024 customers, people who would have bought in 2024, did they just buy in 2022 or 2021 because of the circumstances? Like, and does that mean that there are just fewer of them this year or is it inflation? I don't know. And we could spend all day talking about that, but I think that you're onto it with thinking, showing people smaller projects and maybe even adding a pricing guide that shows people what they can get for those smaller projects if you want them. And I had a similar conversation with a client in Texas who does, dude, sent me a text when he closed over $1 million project that found him online through a page that I
Wow.
wrote for him. And I'm like, yeah, dude. We're like, I'm like, I can't believe that you made all this money. And he's also like, when those aren't happening and when I'm not booked out 3, 4, 5 months with the $75,000 projects, we would take on the $8,000 to $15,000 project or whatever it is. I don't want people listening to get hung up on our number or your number, but I think getting clear on what can and will you offer in this market is where we should be focusing without being wishy-washy on pricing. I'm not saying that we're gonna suddenly discount people, but it just might mean that if we have the staff and we're available to do it, then it might make sense to take on those smaller projects right now. And we can and will have a period, I'm sure, where the market is really strong again and we may get the backlog and the budgets may increase.
Yeah. And I've always said for the team that we have here and the different crews that we have, I love all different types of size projects because in order to make it work and hit our numbers and with the people that I have, it's great to have different size projects and different things going on because certain guys are really great at certain things. And for cash flow and different things, it's great to have all different sizes. And you never know from for us anyways, that $5,000 job that you do for somebody that could be whatever, when they sell that house or whatever happens and you do a great job for them and they call you for that $100,000 job in the future, you never know what it could lead to. So I always try to help people out as much as we can. And we don't compromise on margins for making money. But if it's a $5,000 job and we can get it done and make the same money that we need to, we'll do it. Um,
I think the key part is you have to be making money on it and you have to be staffed to do it well. Because
yes.
what can happen at a lot of companies is they'll take on the $5,000 job and then they put it on the back burner because they closed the $70,000 job. And now that $5,000 job is late and that customer is unhappy, and then they're not going to hire you for the $100,000 project, 3 years from now or whatever.
Correct.
So I think it's just a balancing act of resources. And one thing I was curious about, can you tell us about your showroom? How long have you had a showroom? What's in it? And how does that play into sales?
Yeah, so we've always had a showroom, whether it was at our physical location or at there was a local shed company that we still work with to this day quite a bit. We had a showroom at in the early 90s. Because we always felt it was important to have a brick and mortar place that people could come and see and feel and touch the pavers, that and they would know that we were a legitimate company that's not gonna go out of business the next day with no brick and mortar place. It's not as fancy as Keystone Decks, where you interviewed Phil
that
down
was
there.
that was a top of the line, man. That was such a cool episode that we filmed. And by the way, I filmed for people listening, or I interviewed your uncle Phil Bahler from Pave Tools at that showroom, and that was just spectacular. It had an upper deck, it had an upper level. Does yours have an upper level, or is it
no?
Okay, I
Ours
haven't
is
been in
just
a showroom that has
level.
an upper level, so
Yeah, no.
well, that's
Their
cool. So are
showroom
you
was wild.
are you and so is part of your sales process meeting people at the showroom?
Yeah, so we try to tell people, everybody wants to know, do you give a free estimate? So our answer is yes, but you got to come to the showroom. Have the people come into the showroom, bring some photos, bring some pictures of their house. Obviously, we already have their address and everything. So a lot of times we'll bring it up on Google Earth, figure out exactly what they have going on. We can even get some photos of their house with the internet nowadays, and we can welcome them in. We got TV screen right when people walk in, so like people can see their own house on the screen. Um, just different things like that. But they can come in. We can give them some rough budget numbers, and people walk into our showroom and are just blown away by what they see, and they start to see the value and why we're charging what we're charging. We have Natalie at the front desk. As soon as they walk in, they're greeted by somebody. You call our office between 8 and 4 every day. Somebody's going to answer. It doesn't ring more than twice. Like, these are the things that we try to set ourselves apart, and people appreciate that. We call people back. You hear that more and more, that, oh, I never got a call back, or
Yeah, really basic stuff of like calling people back is
yes.
so important.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
for everyone listening, like, forget about spending money on anything. Just simply, if you call the people back that you already have, like, you will like double your sales.
Yes.
So,
And don't be afraid to apologize to somebody when you said you're going to get back to them yesterday, but you don't, what you've got only remembered in the morning the following day. Call them right up then, as soon as you think of it, and say, hey, I apologize, and admit that you made a mistake. Like, I feel that's extremely important, and our customers appreciate that. Even though I made a mistake, they're quick to forgive me if I acknowledge that I didn't call them when I was supposed to. And then typically, I'm probably more your typical entrepreneur. When I mess up like that, then they're on the top of my list, and I really focus in and
right.
make sure I give them that extra service to win them back. So
Well,
that's
good. Well,
important to
Josh,
me.
we've had a lot of takeaways on team culture. I'm enjoying hearing that you tell people to come to the showroom. I'm curious to, like, ballpark, what percentage of people that call in and you're like, sure, we'd be happy to provide a free estimate. Let's meet at the showroom first. How many say, I'm not coming into the showroom, versus how many like actually come in?
So our closing ratio of people that do come into the showroom is like 60%.
That's
So
great.
yeah. So of people that um, I guess I would have to do some math. That I'm not sure the exact percentage of people that don't want to come in and give us a hard time, but it seems like if they're not our customer, if they're not willing to come and see what we have, um, without trying to be rude to them, because like I said before, you never know what it could lead to. But most people want to come and check it out and see what you have and like care. You know, if they're gonna spend this kind of money, they want to know who they're spending it with.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, I don't have many clients who have a showroom. So I
Yeah,
think that that alone is disqualifying if they're unwilling to do it.
yeah.
Well, Josh, thanks for coming on the show. Do you have any final questions for me or anything before we wrap up?
I don't have any final questions really, but I one thing obviously with marketing and the future, AI is like a big thing, and just wondering what your thoughts are on it going forward and how we could utilize it more to our advantage to, as I mentioned earlier, I'm not good at writing blogs and staying current with that types of things. Like, how could we as landscapers stay more current with our customers and utilizing the technology that's out there?
So, as an example, I use a tool called Fireflies to listen to and transcribe these podcast conversations. And then over here on paper, while we're talking, I wrote down double your sales. I'm going to search the transcript for double your sales. And that's going to be a little clip that we put on Instagram. One thing that I think landscape companies could use AI for is that like you could, if you were at somebody's property walking around with them, like you could be like, hey, would it be okay if I used my AI note taker? And they'd probably like, yeah, cool, like, go ahead. And you could have the AI tool transcribe the whole meeting for you. And at the end of it, if you recap, you're like, so what I'm hearing you say is you want a patio here to entertain your family, and you're thinking that you want this type of material, but you're not sure. And you'd also like a quote for a fire pit. And you're thinking of having a seating wall over here. And like you just kind of recap. The AI tool will give you like a write-up that you could probably just copy and paste as an email to that client. And that alone will help you if they meet with landscaper B and C and and I'll be honest, I met with another landscape company for a different, not my client, for a smaller project. And like, dude, they missed like 35% of the stuff that I told them. So when I got the proposal, I'm like, you're missing like 35%. Like we just spent an hour walking through the yard and I emailed this to you and it's not in the proposal. Honestly, if you even had your chatbot listen to you on a call with a customer, answering the questions that you answer all the time, there's a blog post right there. Like the top 3 questions we get about patios, like boom, like I think it can work. This is a great question. And where I would start is to like back with what I was saying is how could you be faster at selling, either getting somebody to that appointment or getting the proposal to them? I would start there because I think part of the reason people get 2 or 3 quotes from other landscape companies is because the first company they called that maybe they were really excited to interview, like dropped the ball or didn't get back to them or didn't get back to them with the proposal. And it creates this kind of like, well, I should probably get another quote.
I think as an industry in general, we're very slow to adapt to any type of technology and that type of thing. So I feel like um, it's important to know what's out there and be on the cutting edge if you want to stay relevant. So,
Well, very good, Josh. So thanks for coming on the Landscaper's Guide. For folks who want to connect with you and network, maybe stop by your showroom or something, how can we network with you?
yeah, so our Instagram page is at Baylor Brothers. Um, and then we're also on Facebook at Baylor Brothers. And my email address is jb@baylorbrothers.com. All brothers all spelled out. And yeah, reach out. And I love to connect with people. We can all learn from each other. There's enough work out there for all of us. I talk to landscapers in the same town as me multiple times a week, and like we all just help each other out. And I think it's important that we can all network and learn from each other and grow.
I agree. And that's one of my favorite things about the industry and why I like running this podcast is I get to talk to cool people
Yeah.
who want to help the industry. So thanks for sharing today on the podcast.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure.
Hey, it's Jack Jostes, and check out our show notes for some more resources from today's episode, and be sure to listen on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Next, click the link at the end of this video for more sales and marketing ideas to grow your snow and landscape company.